Now, upon arrival in Bermuda, the U-505 actually undergoes a bit of a drastic makeover. The U-505 is actually repainted to look like a U.S. submarine and then renamed USS Nemo. The crew of the Hunter Killer Task Group 22.3 then had to take an oath, swearing that they would never tell anyone, well, how they found Nemo. This whole entire operation, this boat itself, physically, had to be kept top secret. Now, with this kind of make sure everyone's kind of got their thinking cap on here, still staying with me. Any kind of ideas, maybe even just fun kind of hypothesis there. Why would the U.S. want to keep this boat a secret, or at least the story of its capture? Yeah. So they didn't really care much about the boat itself. They had about 1,000 U-boats. They didn't really care much about the 58 prisoners of war, whatever. They cared most about the intelligence that was kept on this boat. Again, the 900 pounds of documents and the 2 Enigma machines, right? Now, if news got back to Germany that we had all this information, that would definitely incentivize the Germans to change their codes, which would then render everything that we got off this boat kind of null and void. Now, this would have been an extra bad problem, as this boat was captured again June 4th, 1944. 2 days later, on June 6th, would have been D-Day, right, or the day of the Normandy landings. The Allied powers were then on that day able to start the liberation of Europe. If news of this boat's capture did fully get out, that could have absolutely had catastrophic events for the tide of World War II. So yeah, pretty big deal. So happy to note that I didn't have to take an oath, and I can actually talk about it. The U-505's capture and just the general news of its existence did go fully public on May 16, 1945, about 9 days after Germany surrendered in World War II. After the surrender of Germany in World War II, war is over. The U.S. looks at this boat and goes, well, now what do we do with it? And so they actually wanted to blow this boat up. Yeah, use it for Navy target practice. But Captain Daniel Gallery, again, the captain of that Hunter Killer Task Group that captured this vessel, said no. He said if this boat does not have any more use in war, it can have use for educational purposes. And so Daniel Gallery, who was actually born and raised here in Chicago, he actually had family ties to the Museum of Science and Industry and was able to get this boat in 1954 a one-way ticket to Chicago. This boat kind of traveled up kind of the East Coast and came in to Chicago here through Lake Michigan. There, it sat on MSI's front lawn for exactly 50 years, where it sat there without any sort of a sunscreen, no blanket, no nothing. And so after about 50 years of just standing outside, it looked pretty nasty. So it underwent a makeover part 2. It was repainted to look more like the original boat, and also because the original paint had a lot of lead in it. So they're like, maybe not for a museum that is going to definitely have a lot of children. So they repainted it and they brought it inside, or at least brought the inside to the boat. This entire thing was built kind of retroactively around the U-505. It currently stands here now as a part of our permanent collection and as a war memorial to those that fought in the Battle of the Atlantic in World War I and II. It also stands as a very large reminder as to how human technology and innovation can be used for very good things and also not very good things at all. That does conclude our tour of the U-505. Again, my name is Sharifa, and it's been a pleasure for the last 20-25 minutes or so, kind of being your guide and talking you through the U-505. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. The museum exhibit of the U-505 does continue all the way around. There's a lot of really cool things to see on the other side of the boat. I absolutely recommend checking it out. But with that, peace.